believe we have Mark Snyder on the phone. Mark, how are you doing? How's Kansas City treating you?
Kansas City's a great place. Yeah, glad to be here. NCAA tournament, can't beat that, Justin.
You know, what's the vibe like there? I am assuming that there's people roaming the streets right now getting ready to kind of take in the day before it's 10:40 there now. I believe an hour behind. But what's the vibe?
It's not really. I mean, there wasn't much yesterday. You know, it's not like in the Indy or something like that, or even Washington D.C. You know, around the arena like we saw the Big Ten tournament. It's not quite the same energy, and maybe it will be by the arena, you know, as the game gets closer. But really, it's been really quiet here for a couple of days.
And Michigan certainly hasn't been quiet the way they've been playing. They're a national story now. They're the darlings, if you will, of this tournament field left. Does that help them or hurt them?
Oh, I think it can only help. I mean, I think that, you know, I don't think they see it as pressure. They see it as excitement. They're appreciative of everything now in their life, you know, because of the playing. But I don't think the playing is driving them. I think they just appreciate what they've done. As I wrote about today, you know, especially the seniors, they understand this a little bit better than the younger guys, because they went through 2014 in the Elite Eight, and they said to themselves, well, they walked out of there, we're going to have this every year. We're going to go to the Elite Eight every year. We're going to come Final Fours. We're going to win Big Ten titles. It's going to be that easy. And then it didn't happen. Then they missed the tournament. They missed all the tournaments the next year. The year after, they squeezed in the first four. And it's like, well, maybe that was just the big run that happened a couple years ago, and that was it. And now they're seeing that they can do something. Zach and Derek are really leading this charge, and now they're appreciative of what's happening because they remember the last couple of years.
The Oregon Ducks, they're a team that out west has played with some of the big teams out there, beat some of those big teams. They lose their center, but they still manage to get to a Sweet 16. What about them proposes the biggest threat to the Wolverines?
I think the Dylan Brooks kid, the 6'7" forward, I mean, who's just a bull going to the basket. You know, he can. If that challenge is there, then, you know, Michigan's going to have to defend him with someone. That probably could be Zach Irvin, but, you know, so maybe DJ Wilson at times giving him a different look. But if he's going to put people in foul trouble, then Michigan's going to have a problem. Michigan has no depth, and that's their greatest worry is that, you know, someone gets in foul trouble and you can't play people, because look at their bench. You know, Duncan Robinson's there, but he hasn't scored much, and so he's better at defense, but he's not coming in as some stopper or something. And Xavier Simpson and Mark Donnell are only playing a couple of minutes. I mean, Michigan has nothing coming off the bench at this point. I mean, if Robinson can come in and hit a couple threes, maybe that changes his value. But for the most part, if Michigan gets in foul trouble, they're going to have a problem.
John Beilein's tried to downplay the Cinderella aspect of this Michigan. I think one quote from the players was, "This is Michigan." Are they playing with house money? I like to look at this matchup as they're the 7 seed. They're not necessarily expected to win by the numbers game if it's 7 versus a 3, but Michigan's feeling confident going into this game, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're favored. I mean, on the betting line, they're favored. So I think that there's an expectation. But I don't think that's because of some Cinderella or plane accident or something. I think that this is a team that played the final month of the season, or the last, I guess, 6 weeks at this point, like a number 3 seed. I mean, they looked like a number 3 seed. Oregon, you know, obviously has an injury now, so things change a little bit. But Michigan has played that level. Look, they've won 12 of 14. The losses, one was on a Hail Mary to another NCAA tournament team, you know, Northwestern, and the other one was in overtime where they got robbed on these foul calls, you know, against Minnesota. Otherwise, they've won every game. You know, who else is better than that, and who else has gone through that gauntlet, you know, with the Big Ten, which looks good. I mean, they beat Purdue twice, and obviously Purdue's a Sweet 16 team. They beat Wisconsin twice, and Wisconsin's a Sweet 16 team. So, you know, I think you got to have a lot of faith in just how good they are, not necessarily that they're some product of some story.
Mark, what's the percentage that you would give Michigan to win this region now? Because you just talked about Purdue being potentially the other matchup, Kansas being the other matchup. If they get by Oregon tonight, would it go up or down if they have to play one of those other 2 teams from the top half of the bracket?
Well, if they play Purdue, I think that they're the favorite. You know, I mean, obviously they've handled Purdue twice, and they've been able to figure that out. It's just a bad matchup for Purdue, you know, trying to defend, you know, with Swanigan and Haas trying to defend Michigan, you know, Wilson and Wagner. That's just a bad matchup for them. But you look at Kansas, yeah, well then I think Kansas is definitely a favorite over Michigan, because they do a lot of things Michigan does, not show the bigs, but they're very athletic and physical, and you can see all the things, you know, that they did to Michigan State, and, you know, Kansas is talented. So I think if Michigan's playing Kansas, it's a 25% chance. if it's Purdue, then Michigan's definitely the favorite.
Give me before I give you that, give me an X factor for each team tonight, besides maybe the regular guys for Michigan and for Oregon.
Well, with Michigan, I could see Robinson being X factor. If Michigan can shoot the ball, they can beat anyone. They can beat anyone in the country if they can shoot the ball like they did in the second half against Oklahoma State. I mean, you shoot 55% from three, you hit, what was it, 12 of 15 threes or something like that, you can beat anyone. And the fact that they've shown in this tournament that they can do that, that's scary for anyone who's playing them because they can get that hot. Obviously, they didn't do that against Louisville, but it's there, and that potential is there. So that's where Duncan Robinson come in. I mean, he hasn't taken a lot of shots, but if he can get on fire, he can be one of the best shooters in the country, and that would be Michigan's X factor. In terms of the other way, Oregon, they got Bell in the front court. He doesn't score a lot, but he can really rebound and he gets some putbacks. That could be interesting. Ennis in the backcourt doesn't score a lot, but 25 years old. He's a big guy. He's got a lot of experience at 3 different schools, so he can go off too. But it's at Dorsey. He's averaged 20-something points for the last 4 or 5 games, and he's not even their best player. So it's really an interesting dynamic with this team because there's a lot of different weapons, just like Michigan.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what color jerseys or what kind of jerseys Oregon rolls out. Of course, the football team likes to mix them up. So does the basketball team. So probably a different variation of the white somewhere. All right, Mark, I'm going to get you out on this. Does Michigan win tonight? And if they do, why?
Well, I'm kind of torn about which way to go with that. In the paper, I picked Oregon, so I guess I'll go with that because I just think that Brooks is going to be hard to handle. Oregon's been great, 6-3 in games of 4 points or less. I think that how to win close games. They've done it against very good teams, Arizona and UCLA, and you've seen that. Michigan's done it too against good teams in the Big Ten, but it's maybe a different thing. And I don't know. I think that Oregon's got a little bit of juice to it. But if Michigan is going to win, Michigan's going to have to shoot it. I think that's going to be important, whether it's Wagner up front pulling those guys out, or it's just spread between the team and they or someone gets hot like Derek Walton. I think the three is going to be important because it really can be a neutralizer in the game and it can change the way that you have to be defended.
He is Mark Snyder. You can follow him on the Twitter, Mark__Snyder. So catch him, follow him along. All day he'll be in Kansas City getting you ready for game time. Mark, good luck to you tonight. Have fun out there and make sure you get some of that great barbecue for me, would you please?
Okay, thanks a lot, Justin.